Hey everyone, I should really be recording a video for my main channel, but here I am on Puffalope again because I just have something else I want to ramble about, and you guys seem to have enjoyed my video where I complain about every killer in the game, and you guys seem to enjoy these like long form, barely any cuts in the video, like discussion things. And I want to talk about something today. Also, I'm getting used to this whole thing where I like don't cut out the parts that I'm not speaking. So if you hear me go so like quiet all of a sudden is because like I'm used to it because I go quiet and then I cut it out. Like in this channel, I'm not gonna cut anything out, so it's gonna be weird sometimes. Okay. Today I want to talk about tunneling, and I have a very different based opinion on tunneling, and I feel like a lot of the people that solely play Survivor don't really see this the same way I do. I sincerely think that tunneling, benevolent tunneling, and I'm going to separate this into three types of tunneling here, but like just the base concept of tunneling is not a problem. It's actually a necessity, and if the game didn't have this, it would be extremely boring. Tunneling is when the killer tunnel visions one survivor. So he goes for one survivor, puts him on the hook. When he gets saved from the hook, instead of going for the survivor that saved them from the hook, he goes after the survivor that was just hooked. Now, there are measures in the game that prevent tunneling, like BT, the base kit BT, which is like when you get unhooked, you get 12 seconds, I think, of endurance and a little speed boost. But that can be easily counteracted by the killer by just hitting you, chasing you for the extra 10 seconds it takes for the killer to catch up to you after the speed boost. And now the survivor is not going to be able to use perks like tryhard and all that good stuff. And their screen is going to be slowly going black, so it's much easier to down a survivor that's in deep wound than it is to down a survivor that's not in deep wound. And most of the time, if they have exhaustion perks, those exhaustion perks are already going to be used. And that's why I like Made for This so much, because Made for This, if the killer is tunneling you, you're not going to be exhausted. You're still going to have a quote-unquote exhaustion perk even when you're getting tunneled. Um, Now, that can be seen as a problem, and I can see why it's seen as a problem, because if you're a newer player to DBD, you will not like having the pressure, the constant pressure of the killer being after you the entire game. And if you're not used to that kind of pressure, it sometimes feels horrible. Like you just want to chill, you want to heal up, you want to reset for the chase. It's not even that you don't like being chased, you just don't like being chased in unfavorable situations. And that's completely understandable. I'm not here to argue that everyone has to enjoy chasing no matter how much of a disadvantage you have. Um, but here's where my based different opinion comes in. I think that whenever you're getting chased, it's up to you to make that chase as valuable as possible for your team. And the only way, and I say this is when people say that they only don't like chasing good survivors as killer, this is also my opinion. The only way to improve at anything, pretty much, human beings only understand repetition. So if you want to be good at something, you have to keep trying and failing multiple times until you're eventually good at it. So when it comes to like killer, for example, if you want to become a better killer, you're not gonna run away from the good survivors, because chasing the good survivors. Also, sorry for the background noise here. If you're never chasing the good survivors, a lot of background noise. If you're never chasing the good survivors, you are never gonna learn how to kill the good survivors. The only way to actually learn how they play and what you can do against them is by chasing them. Most of the time, when you chase the good survivors, they're gonna loop you for a long ass time, and you're most likely gonna lose the game when you do that. But by losing the game, you improve as a killer because you learned what you had to do to kill that survivor. Maybe you learn how to hug structures better. Maybe you learn how to mind game survivors. Maybe you learn a new mind game on a certain tile, and because tiles are pretty much the same every game, you're gonna know how to play that tile in the future. So there is a lot of value in losing in anything in life. And I have the same kind of philosophy when it comes to tunneling. If you're being tunneled, no matter how much of a disadvantage you have, you are still being chased. The only way to get good at looping is by being chased. So if the killer is always going after you, you're getting infinite practice in one game. So being tunneled is actually the best thing that can happen to you if you want to improve as a survivor player in this game. Sometimes the killers are going to have unfair advantages, and that's where my three different types of tunneling comes in. We have neutral tunneling, which is when the killer is having a rough game, he's going against good survivors, and he recognizes that if he doesn't kill one of the survivors, no matter how good or bad they are, they just look at the hook states that they have on a certain survivor, and they go after that survivor to kill them off so they have a better chance at winning the game. I think that's completely fine. Something else I think is completely fine, or even deserved. This would go into good tunneling, I guess. But is when the survivor is body blocking with the base kit BT, so you can't go after the survivor that just unhooked. In that situation, tunneling is not only neutral, it's actually a good thing. The survivors cannot feel like they're invincible just because there's this like idea that the killer shall not tunnel, you know? Like if they body block, they deserve to be tunneled, and I like 100% agree with that. Like I think that's just common sense. The problem I see with tunneling is certain killers like Wesker, Nemesis, Pyramid Head, they have base kits that just encourage tunneling too much. They help them tunnel survivors too much. Like Wesker's infection. When you infect a survivor and put them on a hook, they're still going to be infected after they get unhooked. And it doesn't take too long for that infection to build up. And then that survivor is going to be 8% slower, and they're also going to be instant-downable with the power. That is unfair. Being 8% slower, it completely ruins the chase. It destroys the chase for most survivors in this game. That should never be a thing where the infection carries over. And I also don't think that Wesker should even slow you down with the infection. That's kind of a dumb thing to add to a killer. Killers like Nemesis, the infection also carries over. So that means that the survivor, whenever you whip them, they're going to, get injured instead of all that good stuff. And if you think about it, as a killer, it's a dumb idea to let the survivor heal up, get rid of the infection, to then you go after them again. So those kits are what I call malicious tunneling. Sometimes people choose those killers with the specific intent of tunneling. I still think it's okay. It's mostly the dev's fault for creating those kits, Like, I feel like it's completely fine. If you're going out of your way, though, to do it because you recognize that the kit favors that, you're kind of a piece of shit. I'm not gonna lie. But the worst type of tunneling for me, and the only tunneling that I really see as an actual problem that has to be addressed, is tunneling the weak link. When you as a killer recognize that you're chasing a survivor, and it's immediately recognizable when you're chasing a bad survivor. There are so many little things in this game that tells a killer that you're not very good at survivor, and that a lot of people don't even see. But there's just like, if you're an experienced killer, it's easy for you to tell if the survivor you're chasing is good or bad at the game. Uh, what I see as malicious tunneling is when you recognize that a survivor is really bad and you only go after them because you know that they're bad at the game. That is infuriating for me, because there is no incentive to winning in this game. You get nothing for winning. There's not even a win screen. There's nothing that tells you that you won the game, especially as killer. As survivor, it's more clear cut. Like if you escape the match, you you won, quote unquote. But as killer, there's the whole thing about hooks. How many hooks did you get that game? How many people escapes? What's the escape to hook ratio? There's all that that huge discussion of like if I down one survivor and face camp them until they die, I get one kill, but it's not the same as hooking the same survivor 3 times. Because you didn't chase them 3 times. Maybe you killed all the survivors, but you only killed all the survivors because you were tunneling one of them, and the teammates were going to do dumb stuff and try to stop you from tunneling them instead of doing gens. Like, who was more skilled, the guy that got 8 hooks or the guy that got a 4K? It varies from game to game. So if you're going out of your way to win the games in the cheapest possible way by going after the weak link, what are you actually achieving? You're not really learning how to play the game. You're not improving as a killer player. You're mindlessly going after the shitty survivors because what? Internet points? You want to feel good about yourself? Is that it? That's your whole goal there? Like, I don't even see that as a win. If you win the game because you tunneled out one of the bad survivors and got a free win because it's just way easier to win when there's one less survivor on the other team, you're not even winning. You're just slimy. You're not even doing anything, you know? So that's what I see as a problem. But in general, tunneling tunneling in like the core aspect, in like the core definition of tunneling, I don't feel like it's a problem. It's a necessary thing. If this game didn't have the idea of tunneling, I'd enjoy the game way less. I pretty much solely play for chase, so I actually am really happy whenever I'm getting tunneled. And you can notice this if you watch my live streams or my videos. I'm always happy. I think that the killers that go for that tunnel, like unironically just go straight for the survivor that just got unhooked, they're giga chads. They don't care what people are gonna say. Just fuck it. I don't like this survivor in specific. I'm gonna tunnel the shit out of them. You know, uh, just so long as they don't do it because and solely because the survivor is bad at the game. If you do it that way, you're bad. Okay, you're just horrible. You are terrible. You suck. And you don't even suck a little. You suck big time. You suck so much, you're so insecure that you feel like the only way you're gonna win is by killing the bad survivors first to have an easy game. You are horrendous. Look at you. I look at you and I puke. You are disgusting. Okay? Thank you very much for watching.